you and the one she tells you not to worry about. Alright YouTube, what is going on everybody? So as you guys have already seen my past videos, or if you haven't, Ralliart turbo is now off. Evo 10 upgraded true GTX 3576 true turbos RS. So a couple differences, right? First of all, this thing is tiny. I'm surprised how small it actually is here in person, but this thing is really small. But that's also why we're going to get a lot more horsepower with our upgraded Evo 10 turbo. Look at that thing. This thing is a masterpiece. Very, very pretty. Built from Chris Robbins over at Turbos RS. Absolutely love this thing. It is beautiful. Look at that. So I do have all new lines attached right now from MA Performance. I bought the Ralliart to Evo 10 little kit, so new oil lines, new coolant lines, banjo bolts, you name it. There's all new hardware on there. So I didn't really have to cannibalize anything from the old one to really put on the new one. So all new lines. With the exception of this O-ring, I already inspected it. There's no cracks, tears, or anything in there. You really want to make sure that's good. So that's nice and sound. I transferred that over from the Ralliart. But other than that, everything else is brand new. Got new gaskets. So we're going to be rocking pretty solid here. With the 22 PSI wastegate compressor wheel. But yeah, so this is going to be able to reach full boost by 4,000 RPM. It's rated for 530 horsepower on pump gas. And E85, you're going to go ahead and see about 630 horsepower. So my plan is to go ahead and run a flex fuel. So 630 is capable. We're not going to go that high immediately with this turbo, but eventually that is the goal. But yeah, one last little side-by-side comparison. A nice little blue ring on there. But yeah, wow, what a size difference. So I know I haven't been the greatest at torquing everything down on like smaller things on the car. However, this is pretty important. So I went ahead and got myself a nice little torque wrench, and we're going to torque these things down to spec. I don't want any leaks, any cracks, anything crazy going on over here. So here is a little torque sheet. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hit everything. So I have a 10 to 80 foot-pound torque wrench. This is going to be plenty for everything that we're going to be doing for today's little torquing extravaganza. We're no longer amateur hour now that we have a freaking torque wrench, a nice little toolbox. Came a long way from this little toolbox here on the ground. Still use that thing pretty heavily. It's just crazy to see how much this channel has grown since the very beginning of my YouTube adventures. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start these torque processes. So I have everything on here hand tight. Nothing's really clamped down, but as you can see, this oil line is going to get interference, so this will have to be done last. Kind of get this out of the way. It's got a banjo bolt on there and 2 gasket washers. As far as this goes, I assembled everything per drawings. So in here, just to show you the stack up, I have a banjo bolt, have the oil line, or sorry, this is the coolant line, and then another gasket washer there. So we're just going to go ahead and tighten that down to spec. So you guys can reference along with me. We're doing the bottom elbow. That is 31 plus or minus 5 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and go to 30. Let's just go to 33 foot-pounds. 30, 31, 32, and 33. So this little banjo bolt is going to be a 22 millimeter hex head. Fits right on there just like that. Click, click. Alright, now that that lower coolant one is now down and torqued, we can now pick back up our little squirrely zigzaggedy one. And what we're going to need to do is put our banjo bolt through there and a copper washer on both ends. And then that gets torqued to 23 plus or minus 1 foot-pound. So we'll go ahead and hit it at 23. Alright, for this line, it's going to be a 19mm, and we're going to go ahead and torque it down to 23 foot-pounds. Now, to get better access at that bolt, you are allowed to use extensions on torque wrenches, just as long as you're not adding length. Then you don't have to do any conversions on there. So, here we go. Kind of hard to hold it in place. Click, click. Alright. Halfway done already. Alright, the next line we have is this guy right here. It wraps around towards the back. We might have to flip her around on her side. But there it is right there. Alright, you just want to make sure everything's in place. So I do have this bolt in here holding it to that little bracket. No, it's not going to move. So here is our banjo bolt. Cush washer on each end, just like it shows here in the picture. Alright, so there is our line, and we're going to go ahead and hit it at 31 foot-pounds. Alright, and that banjo bolt is going to be another 22mm hex head. Click, click, extra measure, click. Alright, and as we're underneath, this is our last two little bolts that we're going to go ahead and torque down. So there's our gasket. There's a little gasket that came with the MA Performance kit, Ralliart to Evo 10 kit. So that's in between, and then I also have these two bolts that I had to reuse from the Ralliart Turbo. Alright, and like the illustration shows, two bolts. Those are both going to be 10mm bolts. And I already have my gasket in there. So these are going to go ahead and get torqued down to 80 plus or minus 8 inch-pounds. Do the conversion. So we'll go 80 divided by 12, 6.6 foot-pounds. So we'll go 6. Well, we can't really go 6.5 on this torque wrench. So we'll go ahead and go to 7 foot-pounds. So right before I decided to torque, I just happened to catch the lip of this little line. Looks like it's a little crack. I'm not really entirely sure. I gotta get it off to look at a little bit better. But I also want to let you guys know this gasket, this little tab, is going to be the one closest towards your wastegate, I guess you can say. Tab to the wastegate, because the other side doesn't have that. I thought that was a crack, but it's not. And it's just an imperfection in there. I don't think it's anything too concerning. I'm alright with that. Just figured to take it off and check. Alright, we officially have everything torqued down that we need to so far. The oil return, I believe that is. Oil feed. Coolant return's good. Yeah, the rest of it is for the downpipe, which is obviously later. Intake obviously later, so I think we're good for now. Alright, so currently as it stands, everything that needs to be torqued is now torqued. Everything running from the turbo. However, I'm going to leave this unattached. That gets bolted up later on. This tab right here gets bolted on later on. These all go to the engine block. Banjo bolt with the gasket. This one gets the funky gasket. Looks like this. Looks like this. Kind of just goes right over the top, just like so, with the banjo bolt going through. So that's how that's going to sit into the block. And this as well gets the O-ring shared from the Ralliart one, or buy a new one if you can. But I've inspected this. That looks pretty good. This is the same line anyways, so that looks pretty good there, and that just bolts down into your oil pan. Other than that, torque is good. And we're going to go ahead and be ready for the next portion of our turbo install. So there you have it. That's how to go ahead and torque everything down on your Evo 10. Alright, cool. Alright, well that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you zero out your torque wrenches. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns in regards to the Evo 10 or the Ralliart Turbo, as far as torquing things down or where each line goes, things of that nature, go ahead and lay a comment down below. I'll try to help you guys, because I know there isn't a lot of in-depth videos covering this, so it's a little easier once you have it in hand. You can rotate it and get a good angle on everything you're working with. So having the comparison of the two turbos, it's pretty cool. I know it's out there, but like I said, it's not really covered. Super excited about this turbo. I'm probably going to end up keeping this one as well, the Ralliart turbo. I don't think I'm going to be selling anything because I do have all my stock parts from the build so far. Because you never know. You never know when you may need it, when you want to revert back to anything. Highly doubt I will, but it's always nice to have those spare parts laying around just in case you ever want to return the car to stock. You can still do that. But yeah, so that's about it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, things I could probably do better in my videos, feel free to let me know. I always enjoy the feedback. So yeah, until next time, I want to say thanks for watching and never live your life on idle, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.